welcome back for another video. I'm Eharbad, a free-to-play endgame player in Raid Shadow Legends. Today is episode 15 in the free-to-play challenge account, and it's probably going to be a bit of a mixed video, and I'll probably end up recording this over a couple of days. So right now it is Sunday evening, and we'll jump straight into the photos. There's only a couple of them to go through, and then we're going to jump into the actual game itself and look at some of the champion builds and try and do a little bit of content. So this morning we had the Void Keep to do, jumped into stage 15. I'd only previously cleared up to stage 14, was able to clear stage 15 at first attempt, going for a similar kind of TM control setup that we did on the Spirit Keep on Thursday. So here using Haikatoon and Armiger, along with that core trio of Miscreated, Rhonda and Aethel. I basically just stayed there. It didn't look necessarily that it was going to be stable enough to push past stage 15. I just thought, let's just farm stage 15, pick up the 5 superiors we need, and just, move on with our lives. Having said that, I did try stage 16 just the one time, and I actually got the last 2 superiors that I needed, but it still isn't super consistent. In fact, you can even see in the photo itself that by the end of the fight, only Aethel remained, which is a common theme on this channel, that ultimately only Aethel lives in pretty much all the content we do. In that same theme, I did finally get Dungeon Stage 18 done. This was a full manual run. And unsurprisingly, you can see only Aethel is alive at the end. As I labelled the previous video, Aethel really is the Dragon Slayer. Stage 19 also managed to get done a little bit quicker. It was a full manual run again. This was much more suitable from an affinity perspective for our team. I did try Jamasa even though she was negative affinity, and she did die on the very first wave within about 5 seconds of the fight running, but I was able to manually 4-man it through the rest of it. So we are now on to stage 20. I did try and run stage 20 once on auto and it didn't work. I think I can probably manual stage 20 and maybe we'll do that in this video, but I'm not yet at a position where we can auto it. The team just isn't tanky enough. I don't quite have enough crowd control. I don't have any form of AoE decrease attack or any form of AoE decrease defense in this team. And my only crowd control is coming from Miscreated Monster, really. I mean, you do have the Jamasa sleep on the A1, you have the Rhonda lockout on the A2, but on auto, they don't seem to be using these very intelligently, shall we say. In terms of the missions themselves, I'm holding back collecting the energy from this for now. I probably will use it in Dragon during the Dungeon Divers, but the reality is I'm not actually that bothered about when I get it, because I can basically finish the rest of this at any point. We do have Relic Keeper ready to fuse, but I will be saving that for a champion chase. And then in terms of part 4, we're not yet in a position where we can realistically progress that far through part 4. So this whole thing might end up kind of waiting until the 2x Ancients. Again, we can maybe make use of at least getting some additional points from fusing Relic Keeper then, and we're not in any particular rush. Alternatively, we could use the Fuse Relic Keeper in the PRCVC coming straight after the 2x Ancient. So we're going to make that decision at some point. Like I said, in terms of part 4 itself, I'm not actually able to progress too far in there just yet. We probably need to get those additional champions from the 2x Ancient to be able to do that anyway. So, we'll just kind of play it by ear for now. We're not in any real rush, and we can use that energy when it will be most optimum for us. So let's jump into stage 20 and see if we are at least able to do this manually. At least give us an idea of what might be in terms of getting an auto comp. Now, that is pretty lucky. We don't normally get 5 stuns across the board. That is not something that I tend to see as realistic, but we'll be happy to accept it. I'll try and kind of do what I would expect the champions mostly to kind of do on auto, but with me also taking some control. I will avoid Tyrell being able to get the drop defense on us. The other option was I probably could have blocked out Apothecary from getting the increased speed, but we managed to get the stun anyway, so it's not at the end of the world. Right now I would probably try and get the sleep there, but we weren't able to. On Hoarding, get the TM fill from Frozen Banshee. Now we're back at the stun. Again, we've been pretty lucky. Don't tend to get that much luck when I'm doing the Doom Tower waves, which is, I think, what we'll try and do potentially after this. Keep cycling our abilities and work on getting these 2 damage, see if we can get a sleep away. We were able to this time. High defense Tyrell would be a good option in terms of getting poisons stacked up. Nearly taking a turn, get the sleep on him. Interestingly enough, Rhonda doesn't actually wake up the sleep. It's something I've noticed. Again, we'll block the passive. It's going to be slow and steady. I mean, the reality is already by stage 20, they've got a lot of defense, these enemies, and without having a drop defense champion, the waves are going to be very, very slow. So it is something we need to address. You can see whilst we're doing it manually, we're able to control the fight pretty well. I do think if we weren't doing this manually, things would probably be going wrong, as they did the first time I tried to auto it. Back that stun, I think we'll end up. Tyrell will die to poison anyway. Should be in position. Go for the sleep again. I do really like the Jamasa sleep on the A1. Like I find it really, really useful. I've used it quite a lot since she's been booked out. You know, it's 50%, and it does the job. Of course, the problem with the sleep is right now, you know, it's the only mob left alive, so we're gonna have to hit it. And you can see just that first hit takes Rhonda down to half health. I feel like if we want to be in a position, even with this team, to be able to auto it, we need to seriously improve the builds, have much higher defense. But realistically, I think that what would make it actually doable would be if we had a form of decrease attack and or decrease defense on the enemy. I think that's so big. See, that's more what I was expecting. Try and get the sleep on Tyrell. See, that's how easy we can lose a couple of our team. That decreased defense is out. Basically, one hit. All it takes. Now there's not much we can do, just keep trying to kill Apothecary for the time being. If we can get the stun on anyone would be good. Sleep. Frozen Banshee's going to die. We will get back to the revive. Again, we've lost 2. And this is what I mean, like, if we don't have perfect crowd control, we're just going to lose people every time. Sleep out on Tyrell. Get a stun out on Tyrell. Sleep again. Sleep. Now in a slightly awkward position where I actually want them to take turns, so I'm in a better position to then revive once I've got lower turn meters. And I'll get myself a little TM fill. That debuff there, and the A2 on Frozen Banshee. Kind of need to get some crowd control going, otherwise we're going to lose them all again. Built Aethel. Should get back to be able to revive again before we get through to the boss. But you can see how this definitely would not work on auto. There's just no way. Whilst we have the ally protection up, it's not terrible. I'm actually going to TM boost myself. Get back to the revive. Decent stuns out. Again, I'm actually going to hold it back. Going to hold back the ally protection as well, so now we can revive. Stone out. Damage. Now we can ally protect everyone. I'm going to heal Frozen Banshee this time because it's most important that she is alive when we get through. Can't afford to lose Rhonda, but the ally protection did the job this time. And we should be able to kill them and get through to the boss. Use our A2 there because it doesn't really matter if we have it against the boss. "7 minutes in, we're through to the boss. Oof. This is not quick. I'm actually going to TM boost Frozen Banshee. Get more poisons out that way. Start to stack them up and get weaken out if we can, resisted. Go for the ally protection. Get Brimstone out if we can. Didn't. We lose Miscreated from the ally protection, but at least everyone else is alive. Reapply poison sensitivity. The revive. Get them the A1. More poisons. Been pretty unlucky not to get Brimstone. I think we probably just don't have enough accuracy, to be honest. I haven't noticed it come up as resist. So the real question is, can we keep Frozen Banshee alive? I think the main thing there would be whether we get good procs or not on that Giant Slayer. Did get the resist stone this time. Stacking up those poisons. Probably going to die next time. Poison sensitivity back out. But now what I'm going to do is probably sacrifice Jamasa and sacrifice Miscreated. So we'll actually just TM boost Frozen Banshee another time, stack up more poisons. Should see us through at this fairly confident. Click auto. And that should be the job done. Nearly a 10-minute fight. But, you know, at least we get Dragon done. We're not there at an auto run just yet. But, you know, happy enough to do it manually as a one-off just to get the clear done. In terms of the builds, Aethel hasn't changed. This is still the build we've got. I would like to start building up the crit damage. I just haven't managed to get a crit damage amulet just yet. And we're still relying quite a lot on having the accuracy, the resistance build Aethel for various parts of the game. So for the time being, I'm going to keep Aethel in the res banner with the res boots and the res weapon. That's pretty much where the majority of the resistance is coming, is from those three pieces. Plus we do have a single res roll on the amulet. Eventually we do have an accuracy banner, and an attack banner. So we do have good options for the future when we no longer need the res banner. But so far, we have not been fortunate enough to get a crit damage amulet. In terms of miscreated, got a quite nice amulet here with a double roll on accuracy. That's partly why I ended up ascending him to 5-star. I needed to get that accuracy level up to try and get that Doom Tower wave done. Also important for stage 20 dungeons. Really, I need this to be a bit higher, ideally sort of 220, but I am using the Frozen Banshee aura, which is 35 additional accuracy. So we do have enough accuracy in Dragon with the aura in play. Otherwise, we do want to ultimately re-gear Miscreated a bit. We'd still got this 3-star shield, which definitely needs to be upgraded. And I think if we're able to increase its defense value to at least say 2,500 and then try and push up the HP a little bit higher as well, get more survivability in the build, it will be really impactful. And I think to that end, we probably do want to get the 6-star Ascension quite soon. And then ultimately we'll save the Ascend a Magic champion to 6-star as the Rhonda Ascension for phase 4 of the missions. The build on Rhonda hasn't changed at all. It's still not really that good. Like, we've got 2 lower HP pool. The defense isn't that high. It's a bit better than some of our other champions, but it's not great. Overall, the effective HP is still pretty low. Speed could be a bit higher, and the accuracy is no longer really high enough for most of the content. And I think the only way to fix that will be an accuracy banner, which we're not quite ready for. I did use my 5-star Chaos Ore on this ring, and it went from, I think it was triple flat HP before, and now it's triple flat defense. The main stat also did change. It was previously, I think, HP, and now it's flat attack. And if this triple had just been attack percent, then it would have been the perfect ring, but it isn't the case. And then on Frozen Banshee, we haven't been fortunate enough to get an amulet yet that is usable. Basically, I want one with an accuracy substat and ideally flat defense as main. We haven't had that yet, but we are still able to have 191 speed, nearly 3k defense, 30k HP, and enough accuracy for all the content we're going to be using right now. So this is actually in a pretty good state, this build. We have done it with a flat defense banner and an accuracy chest on lifesteal, clutching the speed as the final roll. Now, the reality is with Frozen Banshee, because her base defense isn't like super high, you don't actually get that much worse value from doing defense banner and accuracy chest versus defense percent chest and accuracy banner. And ultimately, you just got to use the gear you've got. And I didn't have particularly good. Well, I didn't have an accuracy banner for one at the time, and I think I actually do now, but I don't have speed as a substat. So in terms of the options of items I had, this combination worked best. We also clutched a speed on the final roll of this shield, which just was bringing a lot of survivability stats. So this is actually a really good tanky shield there. In perception sets are very useful. Jamasa, I've tried to increase the accuracy as well, but we're still falling a little bit short. It's still not quite enough in the Doom Tower wave that I'm trying to do, and it isn't really enough for high-end dungeons either. Again, we do have the Frozen Banshee aura on that run that was giving us the additional accuracy that we needed. Roughly 24 hours has passed. It is now Monday evening. We've been farming Dragon up a storm, trying to get some better gear and just get the tournament done, really. I think overall my plan will be get the epic book from the Dragon tournament. We need about 1100 more points. We will get that done by the time Dragon finishes. Thereafter, I might be jumping to champion training. It very much depends on the quality of the event. I think it could be a repeat of the last champion training event. There was only a 3-day event and it wasn't particularly interesting, but we'll reserve judgment. We'll wait until it drops and we'll see what it's got. If it is a skip, then I'll probably do some Minotaur instead. I would like to get the second and third tier 5 on Frozen Banshee, specifically Spirit Haste and Master Hexer. And there's a couple of other mastery gains I can get alongside that. We have a quick skim through. I mean, that's only 4-star crit damage. That's not going to be any use. Nothing much here. Keep that toxic set with a speed sub. Flat attack. That's a shame. That had been attack percent with flat attack there. That would have been a delightful chest, but wasn't to be. Not much gear there. I have been trying to roll up pretty much everything that is 5 or 6-star up to level 8, and to be in a position where we can start to assess the quality of the gear and make decisions about which pieces to roll up to 16. I'm trying to be very selective about what I roll up to 16 right now, because essentially we just don't have that much silver. We're only at 2.8 million silver. It's really expensive rolling up each piece to 16, so I'm going to be very, very selective about which ones I do. Other than that, my intention is to do a bit of a re-gear once the Dragon tournament is finished, because then we'll have a few days where we're not going to be farming any gear, so we're not going to be getting any incremental gear gains. So kind of it's quite critical in that regard that we wait to do the re-gears and improvements until, we're not going to get another good piece that then would require a subsequent re-gear. Again, we're just trying to economize and save on our silver costs. So the other thing I wanted to show in this video is the Aethel solo of Faction War 14. We actually had Sacred Order Faction Wars today, and I had a advanced quest to beat a Faction War boss. Rather than go back and do stage 7, which we know is relatively easy, shall we say, I used super aids and I ran stage 14. I actually did it twice, so I was able to use the majority of my keys on the absolute highest stage, with that chance to get 5-star glyphs and the chance to get legendary forged materials. So let's jump in, watch the run. It is quite heavily manual, if I'm honest. We can kind of auto the first wave, and even then it's kind of efficient to take it off auto at a certain point and try and make sure that we kill those fell hounds. They do get that block damage up, which is quite annoying, which we did kind of allow to go on, and then I was just making sure that I was attacking the other enemy until the block damage was gone. Then with block damage gone on both of them, we're able to progress. Wave 2 is slightly problematic. We will lose both of our remaining supporting cast. We have the Warden, who puts up the reflect damage, which is quite annoying. We have the Spirit Host, who cleanse and provide increased attack. But we will get through. It's just can be a bit awkward. So if we can manage it in a structured way, make sure that we're not taking too much damage, try and get as many of the kills off as quickly as possible. We have the masteries to increase our speed upon kill, Whirlwind of Death. That plus with the resistance and the native speed, we're actually able to cycle reasonably quickly. And the resistance is key for us to be able to actually beat this Faction War 14 boss solo, as we're effectively able to resist both the side adds, all of the debuffs they would be applying to us, including the provoke on the left side add. But moreover, we're able to resist the boss's main mechanics as well. And I think if we didn't have that, there'd be absolutely no way we'd be able to solo this boss. So that resistance build really coming in clutch again was incredibly important for us to be able to beat Nether Spider. It's the only reason we're able to beat Eternal Dragon, and the only reason we've been able to beat this Faction War 14 boss. I don't think it's that common that people build their starter champions with 200 resistance, and I certainly didn't do it the first time I played through the game. But like most people, I didn't value resistance that highly. It wasn't something I used that much. That said, it was the second Great Hall stats that I prioritized after accuracy. And that's mostly because you get the highest substat value from that. Now, one thing I've also observed whilst doing this Faction War 14 solo is that once the HP swap has occurred, I do actually have to manual it. I have to force Aethel to only use the A1. Otherwise, we won't get enough damage out to be able to kill the boss in the 12 turns. Now, I could have set up a preset and set the AI to essentially ignore the A2 on the boss stage, and that probably would have been a better approach to take. And it's something I might actually do if we cycle back around to Sacred Order and I still want to farm this stage to maximize my forged materials, my faction war kind of rewards. I will then set up an AI preset to ensure that the A2 is not used on the boss stage. And I should potentially at that point be able to auto it. I still have somewhat reservations about the second wave. That might not be autoable, but I'm definitely going to give it a go next time we have Sacred Order up. But as you can see, we're not easily out damaging the boss in the 12 turns. Like, we are using all 12 turns, but with our speed coming from Whirlwind of Death, we're able to get that done. As an overall update to Faction Wars, we are up to 170 stars. We have 30 stars coming from Sacred Order and 26 from Bannerlord, 34 from Barbarian, and the other decent one is Knight Revenant. I do think this is going to be massively transformed. I keep saying it, but after the 2x Ancients, we just don't actually have that many champions in most of the factions to be kind of advancing further than we are. But I think once we have a broader roster, we're going to see this number of stars really skyrocket. Yeah, overall, I think I'm going to leave this video there. It's been a slightly different video overall. It's kind of covered 2 days. We've gone through some photos, not too many, and I've shown some areas of the game, kind of gone through the manual run of Dragon 20, shown you the Faction War Stage 14 solo clear for Aethel. And hopefully overall you've enjoyed this video as much as the other formats that we've done previously. I did want to introduce a bit more of the actual gameplay, although it can be quite slow and ponderous. So it might not be as entertaining as some of the other kind of guides and showcases where things are a bit more fluid and refined. This is far from it. It's more we're just sort of finding a way to get through things. And particularly with, say, that Dragon 20 clear, it is extremely slow, but it helps us overall get that understanding of where the account is and how much additional champion power and tweaks to the composition we might need to be able to get that to an auto farmable clear. Right now, we're nowhere near is the answer. We could do it manually, but there's no way we could be able to auto that currently. But at least that gives us a goal. That is something we want to get done fairly soon. Farming Dragon 20 will be massive in terms of acquiring the gear we need to be able to tackle Nightmare and then ultimately Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. As always, please like, comment and subscribe. Your feedback is always welcome, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.